Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for joining me at whatever point you are tuning into this live stream. I hope that all is well with you. So my name is Angela and welcome to my channel, Time Out with Angela. If you have been here before with me, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for coming back. And if this is your first time finding me and being here, then it is great to have you with me. Here on the channel, we do all sorts of things. Primarily, it's all about health and well-being. I've been on the journey and so far I've lost 115 pounds, and I share my tips and my hacks with you about my journey. I do cooking, I cook meals and recipes, also share tips around preparing and cooking food and meal ideas. I do shopping hauls, and that is of food to support me on the wellness journey, but also just general household products that I buy, and also I do a few clothing hauls. What else do we do? In the summer, I do a little tiny bit of gardening, but most of all, we have lots of chit chat. So how are you today? I hope you're well. So today, I'm really excited about today because it is a Q&A session. Yes, I have a Q&A. So a couple of months ago, well, it feels like a couple of months ago, but in reality, it's probably only a few weeks ago. I asked my community over on my Facebook page to let me know any questions that they would like me to answer. I've had quite a few questions. So I was gathering up all these questions to a certain point in which I could dedicate some time and do a live stream. So today is the day. So I've had quite a few. I've got them all here in my book. I've taken them off Facebook. A few have come through YouTube, some have come from private messenger, and a couple have come to me on other social platforms that I'm on. So I've got quite a few questions. So today's the day that I'm going to go and answer them. So as you're watching this live stream, if you do have any questions that you want to ask me, or you may be prompted to ask me a question from, you know, as we're going through and I'm answering them, then feel free to pop it in the chat box and ask me, and I will do my very, very best to answer it. So just to give you a bit of background, for those of you who are new here, I have been on a journey to improve my health, and as a result of that and putting various actions in place, building healthy habits, I've lost, as of today, 115 pounds, which in the UK is 8 stone and 2 pounds. I'm following the Weight Watchers plan, and I have lost my weight using the principles of that plan, and also by putting healthy habits in place. I restarted my journey back in January 2019. So as of today, I've been on my journey for 5 years, just over 5 years. So a lot of these questions is going to be based on that 5-year period that I've been using the Weight Watchers plan as a tool to help me improve my health and to lose weight. I've got all my questions written down on my book, and I've just written them down as the questions have come in. So I'm not gonna, I've not grouped them. Because I just thought I would just respond as they came in. So you've got the context, you've got the background. I've been on my journey for 5 years. I've learned a lot in that time, and it supported me on my weight loss journey. So my first question, really, really good question, is do I have mindset wobbles? And if I do, how do I cope? Brilliant question. So mindset is one of my strongest pillars of the plan. It's the area that I have really, really worked so hard on. My sleep is fairly good. In fact, I'd say my sleep was probably a 9 out of 10. I've always been interested in food. I love food. So I've had to make adjustments to food that's come over time. My activity is not my strongest pillar. It's my weakest pillar. But my mindset, I have over time really built my mindset to be a really strong pillar, really strong. And the way that I build my mindset is I listen to podcasts literally before I came on my live stream. I was listening to a podcast, been listening to a podcast all morning. It's now 1:45. I've been listening to different podcasts since I've woken up. Hi, Tony. Great to have you with me, my lovely. Great to have you here. So I am constantly listening to podcasts. If I'm not at work or I'm not sleeping, I'm listening to podcasts. And at the moment, I'm listening to podcasts around religious cults. Doesn't matter what it is that I'm listening to. As long as I'm listening to something, I'm happy. I'm in my happy space. And I might listen to crime, to finance, to travel, to religion. As long as I'm listening to something, I'm in my happy place. But I always find something that helps me on my journey. Always. And so because of that, I'm always constantly working on my mindset, constantly. And I also attend a lot of Weight Watchers virtual workshops. I like to do at least maybe 2 or 3 a week for myself, that I could just be a member and listen in and also contribute as a member. So those really help me. So because I'm constantly working on my mindset, if I wobble, it's not very far. It's not very far. Because I'm always constantly working on that. I'm at that point now, but when I rejoined back in January 2019, I was just all about food, all about getting the weight off. So when my mindset did wobble, I would literally fall over. I was horizontal because I hadn't learned to work on the mindset. I was just on the food. What can I eat? How can I fit that into my points? And if I had gone over my points or over my weeklies or had something unplanned, that's when my mindset would wobble. And if I'd gone way over my points, my mindset would wobble so much it fell over. And then it was hard to get my mindset back up because there was nothing propping it up. There was nothing supporting it. So if my mindset had fallen over, there was nothing to push it back up because I was just going to my studio workshop once a week. And if I had a bad week, I wouldn't go because I had nothing to prop my mindset up. And I learned from that. I really learned from that. And I think when Weight Watchers launched the virtual workshops in lockdown, which was 2020, And I now had access, like everybody else, I now had access to attending virtual workshops, as many as I wanted. I started to attend those workshops and realized actually I could get that input every single day, several times a day, to support my mindset. And over time, that grew, and I was going on lots and lots of workshops. So as I was having that wobble, I would jump on that workshop and it would steady me. Instead of when I was going once a week and I would just fall over and it was hard to get it back up again. But now if I had that wobble, I had a workshop to jump on. I had a community. I had that support. Even if I just jumped on the workshop and I listened, there was always something to help me. And then when Weight Watchers launched their podcasts, now I was always, to be honest, I was always listening to different things, I'm on YouTube. I've always loved YouTube, so I've always listened and watched different things. But when Weight Watchers launched their podcasts on the app, it made me realize actually maybe I need to find a few more podcasts to listen to, because I found those podcasts really helpful. So that sent me in search of different podcasts. And in fact, I started off on Audible, started listening to audiobooks, and I used to get, you know, when you sign up, you get a couple free. I did that, loved them, listened to them repeatedly, and I was just craving more and more. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to go on the podcast platform. So I went on Spotify. Well, actually, it was Podbean. I first found Podbean, and I started listening to that. And now I'm on Spotify, and honestly, you can't get me away from them. I absolutely love listening to podcasts, and I've discovered so many different ones, and I absolutely love listening to them. So because I'm always working on my mindset, if and it's not often I have a wobble, but if I have a wobble, I've got a podcast to just steady me, or a virtual to steady me. And I think because I'm always listening to podcasts, those have helped me look at the world, look at my life very broadly. So now, back in the day where I used to think I had wobbles, if that happens now, I don't see it as wobble at all. And that's how podcasts has really helped me. So I listen to loads all the time about all manner of things, all sorts of things, and that support really supports me. So that's a long-winded answer to the question, mindset wobbles, how do I cope? So in a nutshell, I don't have many mindset wobbles now, because I'm always building my mindset, always working on them, and it's those podcasts that just helps to steady me. Okay, so next question, and guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, pop it in the chat and I will do my very best to answer it. And do let me know if this goes really dark, because it's looking really dark on my screen because I'm facing a window, but it's quite overcast outside, so do let me know. I'm just hoping it's not too dark. Okay, so next question I've had is, what are you enjoying about your weight loss journey? So again, another brilliant question. I'm enjoying everything about it. I'm enjoying absolutely everything about the journey. I'm seeing it as a way of life now. And I don't even think about it as a Weight Watchers journey. I just think about it as, this is my life. This is my lifestyle now. And Weight Watchers promote that their plan isn't a diet. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. And it's taken me a long time to make it a lifestyle, because let's face it, You know, let's face it, it is what you want it to be. And some people join and they see it very much as a diet, and they live it as a diet, and they practice it as a diet. And I think that is true for most people, but it's only over time when you can really understand food, understand your journey, understand how you can lose weight and keep it off, when you could make those healthy lifestyle choices without worrying about it, without fretting about it, without micromanaging it. That's when I think it really truly becomes a lifestyle. And I think up until that point, it's a diet. It's a diet. But I think you have to make it, you have to work to make it a lifestyle. And I think just because Weight Watchers say it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, doesn't mean that it is. Doesn't mean that it is. I think you have got to make it that, and you make it that by working at building those healthy habits. So Tony, you'd lost your way on the plan, but you had to turn around, and this week you've lost 6 pounds. That is fantastic. Fantastic. That is brilliant. Well done. I'm so pleased for you. I'm so happy for you. That's a fantastic result. So yeah. And so yeah, so for me, what I'm enjoying is I'm enjoying all the choices that I make. I'm enjoying learning about me. I'm enjoying learning about what a healthy lifestyle looks like for me. And I enjoy practicing those healthy habits every single day. And I'm enjoying my lifestyle. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But brilliant question. I'm loving that. Loving that. Okay, next question. What are your go-to food products? Brilliant question. Thank you. So my go-tos, I would say, well, I'd put that into categories. My categories would be my protein sources. And I love chicken. Really enjoy chicken. And I like chicken breast, but I love chicken thighs. Love chicken thighs. They're just so full of flavor. I'm actually cooking pork steaks. They're on the gas at the moment, cooking really, really slowly. So I enjoy pork steaks. I enjoy chicken thighs, pork, and particularly pork steaks. I love my Caribbean food, so curry goat. I enjoy fish as well, so I enjoy like those protein sources. I like vegetables. I don't love vegetables, but I like vegetables. But I love foods like veggies that I can juice and turn into smoothies. I love those. So I love like beetroot, the celery. Although I wouldn't eat celery, I don't mind it as being juiced. I love those polyphenols like the ginger and turmeric and garlic. Love all of those. And so yeah, so those would be 3 categories of foods that I love. Outside of that, some of my go-tos would be crisps. I do really enjoy crisps. And cheese. I really enjoy cheese. Those are things that I'm never ever gonna get rid of. I'm trying to reduce the crisps, but I really enjoy the cheese. Yeah, I really enjoy that. So those are some of my go-tos. And anything else that's my go-to? Like beans and lentils, things like that. Really enjoy things like that because that's just so versatile. Really, really versatile. So those would be my go-to food products. Yeah. I had another excellent question. Another excellent question is, how do you balance your diabetes with your weight loss journey? Brilliant question. So living with type 2 diabetes has been a huge journey for me. And a very long journey. I've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes for coming on 25 years now. And it's been a tough one. It's been a tough one. I had to learn. When I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, it was part of a wider condition related to my lupus. And I went straight into denial. I went into denial about everything, about my lupus, about my diabetes, just went into denial. And after I came out of hospital, I was really poorly in hospital. I went back to work after 3 weeks. My doctor went crazy at me and he signed me off for 6 months because I was so poorly, but I was in denial. So I didn't really manage my diabetes very well. And I wouldn't take my medication. And my diabetes was all over the place. It was affecting my vision. It was it was really bad. But I was just in denial. I was really deeply in denial of it. And, you know, my doctor really had a stern talk with me about it and said, you know, this is a serious disease. It is serious and it can take you out. Well, I knew it could because my dad died of complications of diabetes. So I knew it was very serious. And I think that was why I was in denial. So it took me a long time to accept that I was diabetic. And once I started to accept my diabetes diagnosis, I then had to go on a journey to understand and learn about diabetes and how it was going to affect me, how it was affecting my body. And then I had to learn about the foods that I needed to eat to support that. And then find that balance. And it was tricky because I had lots of other health conditions going on. So that's the backstory to it. And once I started to get my head around the fact that I was living with type 2 diabetes, and understood what foods were triggering it, and what foods I needed to reduce, what foods I needed to focus on, but also how activity plays a part in managing the diabetes. Once I started to understand all of that, then it became a little bit easier for me. And I think and I've learned this about my weight loss journey generally, is that once I understood my body and how things work, it became so much easier. Up until then, I was just fumbling around in the dark. And I think for the first 3.5 years on my journey, my weight loss journey, that's what I was doing. I was fumbling around in the dark. And although I had the support of Weight Watchers and the plan and everything, it hadn't really, for me, got down deep until, of course, I had my epiphany in August 2022. And it was the same with my diabetes. Didn't really fully understand. And, you know, don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not a stupid woman. I'm not a stupid woman, you know. I am highly educated, well-educated, university degrees, all sorts of things. So I'm not a stupid woman. It was just that cognitive process, just understanding and accepting. So once I understood how diabetes works in my body, the impact, how it works when you eat food, how it's digested, what goes to the pancreas, how the pancreas is involved with the insulin, how that releases, you know, how carbohydrates work, how that turns into sugar, what that does to the blood glucose levels. Once I understood all of that, then for me, it was easier to manage. Whereas at first, doctors were like, there you go, you're type 2 diabetic, have these tablets, end of story, there's the door. And I didn't understand it. And for me, I have to understand it. If you've ever seen me on any of my videos, you know that I'm deep. I'm deep. I don't take anything on a surface level. I'm deep. So once I understood things, it then became much easier for me. So how do I manage it on my weight loss journey? Well, it's easier for me to manage now because I know what I need to do to keep my blood sugars in control. It's as simple as that. I fully understand. And I know that for me, when I am active, that really makes the difference to managing those blood sugars, because I'm burning it up. But because of my health and because I'm not always as active as I would like to be, that means I've got to put more emphasis and more focus on my food. I have to manage my food. Whereas, so for example, in the summer when I'm more active, I could manage my food maybe at 70%. I could eat healthy 70%. I can give myself a little extra leeway and have a few treats because I know that I'm going to be walking it off, burn it off in the gym, etc. However, in the winter, like this time of year, because I'm not very active, my activity levels is limited to the house. I know I've got to put at least 90 to 95% focus on my food because I'm not doing the activity to burn it up to keep my blood glucose levels down. So yeah, so now that I understand how diabetes works in my body, that then helps me to manage my food, my portions, the type of food that I eat when I am not physically active. But when I am physically active, when I'm able to be active, then I can have a little bit more leeway. So yeah, so that's how I do that. That's how I do how I manage my diabetes on the journey. Okay, next question. What has helped you lose weight in menopause? Excellent question. I love this because I know that this is a question that lots and lots of people ask. It's often said that it's hard to lose weight in menopause, in peri and postmenopause. And I say no, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. It is doable. It is doable. And it may be at a slower rate than you may want, but it's very doable. Back in the day, before I hit perimenopause, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I would only have to think about losing a pound and 3 pounds came off. But hitting menopause, much slower. And that's about hormones. It's about the hormone changes in our bodies. And those hormonal changes can, for some people, make it more difficult. Not impossible, but a little bit more difficult. So I didn't even know. And I have done a video, guys, about my menopause journey. So if it's something you're interested in, then, you know, do have a little look in the video collection, and you will see it there. So because I knew that it was going to be a little bit more challenging because those hormonal balances, and because for months and months and months I was in plateau and nothing was shifting, I decided to go and do some research, because I was not going to accept that it's hard or impossible to lose weight in menopause. I was like, no, I don't accept that. That's what people say. People say it's really hard to lose weight. I'm not accepting that. So I went and did some research, and what I discovered was that I wasn't eating foods to support hormonal change. As simple as that. I say simple, it's not simple, but that was the bottom line. I wasn't eating the foods that my body needed to support hormonal change, and started to discover this whole range of foods that are nutrient dense, that have got packed with nutrients and vitamins and minerals and macronutrients. Didn't know. I just thought I needed to eat fiber and protein. Didn't know that there was this whole range of foods that support hormonal change in the body. Didn't know that. So that started me off on another journey. So I started to do this research and realized my body needs magnesium. My body needs magnesium. It needs selenium. It needs tryptophan. It needs phosphorus. It needs vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin A and B. It needs all of these micro and macronutrients, not just protein and not just fiber and not just water. I needed all of those. And the vitamin industry is very quick to jump onto that and sell us vitamins and minerals and supplements, you know, to support with menopause. But what nobody's telling you is that you can get that from food. You can get that from food. So nobody's telling you you can eat that stuff and put it naturally in your body. But no, the pharmaceutical companies are ready to get us to take these tablets. And that's fine. You know, I'm not saying anything negative about supplements, because, you know, they're great for some people on their journey. It's great as an addition. But first and foremost, for me, I wanted to eat food that was going to support me. So went on this whole journey. And that's what I said. You say my journey, it's not just one dimensional. I have multiple journeys within the journey. So started to explore all of those foods, like the avocados, you know, like the nuts and the seeds, like the walnuts and the almonds, and also to start reducing ultra processed food. Please don't get me started on that. I'm not going to get started on ultra processed foods today. Maybe that's a topic for another time. But I started on this journey of just ruling out and cutting out as much ultra processed foods. And although on Weight Watchers they say nothing is off the table, it was for me. It absolutely is for me, because I resolved that I'm not going to put that crap in my body. And when I say crap, I'm not being facetious. CRAP is an acronym, and it stands for C, stands for carbonated, all those carbonated drinks that, you know, the manufacturers throw at us. Yeah. All these carbonated drinks that are full of sugar and colorings and additives, just nothing for our bodies. Nothing. It causes a lot more damage than anything else. So that's the C. The R stands for refined sugars. All of those sugary sweets, sugary products, all of those things, again, everything that's refined, flour, white bread, white pasta, white sugar, all of those things, you know, I wanted to reduce those. And if those things work for you, go for it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have those things. I'm not here to tell anybody anything. I'm just saying that what worked for me. So I started to reduce those. And then the A stands for all the additives, food with additives. So I started reading the back of packets to look at what was actually in my food. What's in it? What's in these bars and these syrups and, you know, these treats that are really beautifully coloured, gorgeously presented? And I started to examine them to see whether it was right for me. And then the P stands for processed, things that go through a process. So, for example, something that starts off as a potato and comes out the other end of a factory doesn't resemble a potato. So when I say CRAP, that's what C-R-A-P, CRAP stands for. So I started on this journey of reducing the crap, and I'm putting my hands up and I'm saying that I am reducing them. I have not eliminated them. So I still have some, because after all, they do taste nice, but I reduce, you know, I went shopping the other day, and I just got just a few bits and bobs, and when I looked at my basket, I was like, oh my God, Angela, you've not bought any crisps, any sweets, no biscuits. I haven't bought biscuits for months and months and months. There was no chocolate, only because my friend has got me loads in the fridge already that I still haven't eaten, still haven't opened them. Whereas at one point, there would have been loads. I'd have been embarrassed going through the till, you know, with all the crap. Yeah. So and that's just me. Oh, my thumb has gone into spasm. Yeah, sorry about that. My thumb went into spasm. It's because it's so damp. It's so damp here. So yeah, so I went on this journey and realized that actually all of these foods are not supporting me to lose weight during menopause. And in fact, some foods were exacerbating those symptoms. And I also discovered that if I drank alcohol in the evenings, forget it. Those night sweats were a killer. Absolute killer. I also discovered that if I eat late on the evening as well, then I'm going to have a really bad night's sleep. So I started to take notice of all these little things, started to look at the foods that I was eating and reducing the crap, reduced the amount of alcohol that I have. And, you know, and I still do drink alcohol, but if I'm going to have alcohol, I'm going to have it earlier in the day. Usually, you know, late afternoon or early afternoon or on a weekend. And I also started to nourish my body with those foods that support hormonal change. And once I started to do that and focusing on my health rather than focusing on weight loss, that is when I lost weight during menopause. And I have lost, as you know, if you follow me, I've lost 115 pounds to date. And all of that has been in menopause. All of that, every single pound. The bulk of that came from August 2022 when I had this whole epiphany. And that was the point that I started focusing on nutrition and reducing the crap. So when Weight Watchers say nothing is off the table, I get that, because, you know, they're not being prescriptive. We've all got different tastes and everything. But for me, personally, I wasn't going to buy into that. There's some things I will not touch. I won't even touch them. Won't look at those syrups. I won't look at those bars and those snacks. I won't look at ready-made meals. And, you know, a lot of people like ready-made meals, and it's got those, it's convenient, and, you know, and that's great. But for me, not happening. Not happening. So, yeah, so, as you know, that's how I have managed my menopause journey, and have lost the bulk of my weight during menopause. And that was just really exploring foods, because as we know, not all foods is equal. Really started to explore those, and then as and when I can, being active, and that helps, and focusing on my sleep. And that really helps. So, yeah, so that is another long-winded question. What has helped me lose weight during menopause? So, yeah, it's the food, focusing in on the food. And I will say, I'm not on HRT. I've never been on HRT, didn't even realize I was in menopause, let alone needed to ask my doctor for HRT. Don't take any supplements to support me with menopause. Completely gone through menopause naturally, because I've focused in on the foods that support hormonal change for me and my body. Okay, next question. Are you concerned you will gain the weight back, especially if you are only weighing monthly? Brilliant question. The short answer is no. No. I'm not concerned whatsoever. I think there will always be a little tiny risk that I can gain the weight back, but I'm confident that I won't, and I'll tell you why. And this goes back to my comments earlier about diet and lifestyle, and why I think that plans like Weight Watchers, no matter how much they say it's a lifestyle, for some people it will always be a diet. So for me, I am confident I will never gain the weight back. No, let me just start that again. When I started on the Weight Watchers journey in 2019, it was very much a diet. I had a diet mentality, and it was about getting off as much weight as quickly as I could. And I think that for me was the epitome of a diet. And when I look at people in the weight loss communities, whether it be Weight Watchers or Slimming World or a liquid diet, that ultimately is their aim, to get as much weight off as quickly as possible. And I see it all the time, and people say, oh, I've only lost. I saw a post last night. Somebody says, I've been on Weight Watchers 3 weeks and I've lost 9 pounds. What am I doing wrong? And I'm like, what are you having a laugh? That's like £3 a week. Expectations, they were expecting a lot more. That to me, diet mentality every step of the way. And when I rejoined Weight Watchers in 2019, I was in that mindset. I wanted to lose as much weight as possible, as quickly as possible. And I was disappointed with those half a pound and pounds, because Weight Watchers has said, you know, you could lose between 1 and 2 pounds a week. And I was like, well, why am I not doing that? I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. Why is that not happening? I want more weight loss. Diet mentality. And in the first lockdown, I continued to lose weight. But in the second lockdown, I regained about 2 stone very quickly. So that told me that up until that point, I was very much in diet mode, and Weight Watchers was a diet. And I've done a live fairly recently sharing my views as to why people regain weight, in my opinion. And I regained the weight because it was a diet. It was not a lifestyle. It was not a lifestyle. And in my opinion, I think that's why people regain weight, is because it is still a diet. They still are reliant on whatever app, whatever program they're doing. And the minute they stop using that app, or they stop following the program, the weight goes back on, because it's a diet. And I think, and in this video that I did, I explained that what I see in the community is people have never grown their wings. They're not confident enough to step out and live that diet, that lifestyle. They are still living in that diet bubble, and they become reliant on the app, on the recipes, on things like that. And I gave the example that it's kind of like a baby, that, you know, a baby shuffles, then they learn to crawl, then they start to walk, then they start to run, and then, you know, you take them out and they need the push chair, and then when they get to 4 or 5, they don't need the push chair at all. They're walking and they never look back. You don't get a 10-year-old who says, right, I want to go, you know, in my push chair. No, they are confident. They've learnt those skills to be independent and to walk. But in my opinion, I feel that programs, weight loss programs that encourages you to be dependent on them, to use the app, to use their recipes, to attend their meetings, to do all of that, is a diet. And that's why when people stop, the weight goes back on, because they have not learned that healthy lifestyle. They've not learned to walk. They've not learned to run. They're still wanting that, the push chair. They're still codependent. And that's why I feel that there is danger. There is danger there. And I see it all the time. And I experienced it myself, that the minute COVID came and I couldn't, and I wasn't using the app, I wasn't able to go to my workshops, it was like I reverted back to my old ways. Because I was dependent on the app to track. And it was almost like I can't cook a meal. I can't, you know, make a decision unless I've tracked it. I can't buy anything unless I use that barcode scanner and I find out the points value of it. I can't cook a recipe unless I track it and I know how many points it is. That is dependency. That is that 10-year-old child saying, I can't walk unless I'm in that pushchair. I can't go anywhere unless I'm in that pushchair. You know, it's like a 15-year-old saying, I can't eat, you've got to feed me. That's dependency. And I see not just Weight Watchers, but all of these programs and all these plans create a dependency. They create dependency. And the minute somebody says, for whatever reason, I can't track, can't use the app, can't go to my meeting, weight goes back on. It might be they're on holiday, might be they're sick, might be that they can't afford the plan anymore. As soon as they stop doing that, weight goes back on because they're still dependent. So, and I recognize that for myself in the second lockdown, because it was kind of, oh my goodness, I'm crippled. I'm crippled. I can't go to my workshop. Mindset gone. It was like a great excuse for everything because, well, I can't go to the workshop, so I might as well not track. And if I'm not tracking, I'm just going to eat what I want. I was dependent. And I recognized that in myself. So after the second lockdown, we came out of that and started getting back on track. And it was really hard for me to get back on track. It really, really was hard because I'd recognized that behavior in myself. I recognized that I was dependent on the app for success. And then rolled around August 2022. And all of these little things that I've noticed about me and I was seeing in the community, I was like, no, this is not how I want to live. It's not how I want to live. So I started tracking, but with purpose. Tracking not just for tracking's sake, but tracking for purpose. So I started to track to educate me. I wasn't tracking to say, oh, this is 3 points, I can have it or I can't. This is 10 points. No, I'm not going to have that. I wasn't tracking for that purpose. I was tracking to educate myself. I was tracking to find out what foods worked for me and my body that was going to support me long term. I was educating myself with tracking. I was looking and tracking to see what foods I would eat that would make me feel full and satisfied. What portions would support me with that? And when I started doing that, weight loss happened. And then I carried out my experiment. In September last year, I carried out an experiment and I decided I'm not going to track. Not going to track for 1 month to see what happens. So I stopped tracking in September. And that month I went on holiday as well. We had an all-inclusive holiday in Greece. And I came back and guess what happened? I lost 5 pounds. And I lost that weight because what I was trying to show myself was that I am confident, that I could get up and I could walk. I didn't need the pushchair. I wasn't dependent on an app or a program. I was confident in my knowledge to live a healthy lifestyle. And it was at that point I realized now Weight Watchers was a lifestyle for me and no longer a diet. A diet is about dependency. A lifestyle is saying, do you know what? I'm free and I could make choices and I don't need to be dependent on anything. So at that point, I realized this is now a lifestyle. I am making choices to support me. So the next month, that was September, October, I thought, do you know what? Maybe that was just a fluke. Maybe it's a fluke. So the next month, no tracking. Again, relying on my knowledge that I had built up through tracking. Tracking had taught me all of this. I educated myself via tracking. Next month, lost weight. November, lost weight. December, lost weight. January, lost weight. I've now gone, so September, October, November, December, January, 5 months I've gone without tracking a morsel, and I've lost 15 pounds. 15 pounds since I stopped tracking. So that told me, and guys, that may not be right for you. And I'm not saying that you need to do this. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that works for me. It works for me. And that told me I'm now independent. I'm now independent. I don't need that pushchair. I don't need somebody wheeling me around. I don't need somebody to spoon feed me. I don't need that. I'm grown. I've flown. I've spread my wings and I can fly. Because I looked at it like, am I going to be tracking for the next 10 years? No way. That ain't happening. Am I going to be tracking for the next 30 years or 40 years? Absolutely no way on this earth. Because how Weight Watchers and all these programs say, we're teaching you healthy habits for life. And I looked at that and I thought, well, for me, tracking for the next 5 years is not a healthy habit for me. It's not something I want to do for the rest of my life. No way. Absolutely no way. So I tracked and educated myself on what works for me and what brings me weight loss. And then I had built the confidence to go out and fly and do that. So the question was, am I concerned that I will gain weight, gain my weight back, especially as I'm waning with it? Absolutely no. I've got no concerns. And I've proved that because I've gone 5 months without tracking and I've lost weight. So I'm not concerned at all. What I'm more concerned about is that I keep building those healthy habits, keep building them and keep practicing them, and find any weaknesses in my armor and keep building those. That's the key for me. It's not about, right, that's it, I've learned everything I need to know. No, absolutely. I'm a work in progress. We all are. So for me, it is about continually learning about myself, learning about foods, learning about my portions, learning what's going to work for me, and keep reviewing that and keep practicing that. So no, I'm not concerned at all that I'm going to regain the weight. Oh, so Nita, hello Nita, great to have you with me today. So fascinating and so right about dependency on the app. However, it is scary flying solo, and there are lessons still to be learned and vigilance needed for old habits. Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, and that is why it's so important to stop and review and to reflect and to monitor and just keep taking check of ourselves. Because just because, you know, we can now walk doesn't mean we're not going to stumble. Just because we can run doesn't mean we're not going to trip up. So it's really important to keep checking, reviewing those habits to make sure that they don't creep back in, because they can creep back in, and they do creep back in. But yeah, you know, and we're all at different points in the journey. And, you know, and listen, as I said, this channel, it is purely for entertainment. I'm not telling anybody what they should do. I don't want anybody to feel bad about what they do or what they're not doing. You know, your journey is your journey, but I'm just sharing me and what works for me. Oh, I like that, Nita. You write a daily journal, but review everywhere. I love that. I love that. You know, really, really like that. I weigh once a month because that allows me just to focus in on those healthy habits and not get caught up in the scale. And every now and again, I do have to stop and check in on those habits and make sure that I am building on them. And I'm still, you know, don't get me wrong, I still am following Weight Watchers. I still am using the app. I do still use that barcode scanner for things that are new. And I do sort of, you know, explore those recipes, you know, and I use the app in all the different ways it has to offer. It's that I choose not to track. That is just my choice. And that's how for me, I feel that Weight Watchers is no longer a diet for me. It was a diet at the start of the journey. It's no longer a diet for me now. It is very much a lifestyle that I'm living independently. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so gosh, you know, I've been on here an hour and I've only answered 6 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. I've got loads more to go, but I might have to do a part 2. Okay, so I had another question. How do you manage weight loss with little activity? So I think I answered this earlier when I was talking about diabetes. So there are times that I'm not active, physically not active because of my health. Times that I just can't be active. Not that I don't want to be, my body just won't let me be. So at those times, I pay more attention to the other pillars. I really focus in on my food. I really manage my portions. I make sure I have really tasty food and food that I love, but small portions. I eat it really slowly, really mindfully, savoring every bite, making it last. And then I also focusing on those other pillars like the mindset and the sleep. Optimally, I think that if we can get all 4 pillars in balance, I often think of those pillars like a chair, you know, and if you have a 3-legged chair, you're going to fall over. You know, if you have all 4 legs, all different heights. Oh, no problem, Nita, no problem. You go, my darling. I totally understand. And I will see you soon, my darling. Enjoy your day. But feel free to catch up. It'll be on YouTube. So catch up as and when you're ready, my darling. Okay, see you soon. Yeah, I see the pillars as like a chair. And if you have all 4 legs, but they're all at different heights, again, it's not stable. It's like if you've only got two legs on the chair, it's going to collapse. So optimally, you want all 4 legs on the chair equal and in balance, and that creates stability. But this time, and that is ideal, but we don't live in an ideal world, and there's going to be times where one leg is going to be shorter than the other, or they're all out of sync. That's just how life works. So there's times that I just cannot do anything around my activity, but I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. So I just work on the other pillars. I just work to strengthen my food pillar or my mindset pillar, or focusing on strength. And then, you know, a different time of year, or when I'm feeling stronger, I can then work on the activity and get everything in balance. So yeah, you know, yeah, you know, that's just life. That's just life. And I know sometimes some people can't work on the sleep, or they're not able to work on the mindset, or they're not able to work on food. that's fine. You know, we just do what we can when we can. Yeah. So I hope I answered that. Oh, so next question. And I'm gonna answer this question, and then I'm gonna take a break because I need to go get a fresh cup of tea, and then I will come back a little bit later and do part 2. So how do I manage weight loss? Oh, I've just done that one. So is it harder to lose weight as an older person with health challenges? I think this goes back to my question, the question around menopause. Yeah, I think it goes back to what I said when I talked about menopause. I think part of that is also about mindset, but also just our bodies changing, hormone changes. And I think it's then looking at our lifestyle. So when I was younger, I was very, very active. You know, I was doing a lot of walking. I remember I used to walk to work. It used to take me about 40 minutes to walk to work. It was, oh gosh, probably about 5 miles there, 5 miles back. I struggle walking to the local shops some days. So I was a lot more active. I was also out socializing a lot, out at night. I was clubbing as well. So it was much easier for me to lose weight when I put my mind to it. But as I've gotten older, my lifestyle has changed, completely changed. I'm nowhere near as active as I used to be. I'm a lot more sedentary. But also hormones, life just absolutely takes over. So it is, for me, not for everybody, but for me, it is more difficult, but not impossible. It is absolutely doable. Very, very, very doable to lose weight. It's just, as I said earlier, having those foods that's going to support me, managing those portions, eating mindfully and doing all of that. I mean, I'm 57. I'm 57 and I've been on my journey for 5 years. So I started my journey when I was 55. Sorry, when I was 52. I was 52 when I rejoined Weight Watchers. So yeah, you might class me as an older person. Yeah, you might class me as an older person. So yeah, 52 I started, older person, lost 115 pounds. It's very doable at a much slower rate, less than £0.5 pound a week, but very doable. Yeah. Okay, guys. So, do you know, I've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions to answer, but I've been going an hour and 10 minutes. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I will be back a little bit later. So I'm going to aim to be back for, well, it's 2:45 now, about 3:30. I'll be back. So feel free to join me then, guys. But thank you so much for being with me today. If you're not in my Facebook group, no, do you know what? I've just remembered I've got to go see my grandkids. How could I forget? Terrible Nana. Terrible nanny. I've got to go see my grandkids. I promised them I was going to pop in and see them today. So I'm going to park it for here now. I'm going to park it here for now, guys. But I'll be back tomorrow and I'll finish off the rest of the questions. I'll finish those. So, guys, thank you so much for being with me. If you're not in my Facebook group, then come and join me. It's Time Out with Angela in brackets group. Also, join my Facebook page, which is also Time Out with Angela. But if you're not subscribed to the channel, then hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And as soon as I go live, you'll be notified. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Whatever you do, have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. I hope the weather is better where you are than where it is for me. It is so grey and dull and wet and cold, but I hope it's okay where you are. Anyway, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Take care now. Bye.